Hey, Edith.
Hey, Christy.
What type of jokes are allowed during quarantine?
I don't know.
Inside jokes. Hi, I'm Christy.
And I'm Edith. We're backyard gardeners in Colorado.
And neighbors.
And friends. These days, gardening is becoming very popular.
We're not experts. We just learned a lot about gardening from the mistakes we made along the way.
So welcome to Upside Down Tulips, a fun podcast that celebrates gardening gone wrong.
Upside Down Tulips.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Edith.
Hi, Christy.
Welcome to Upside Down Tulips, friends. I'm Christy, that's Edith, and we're here to talk about our gardens with you today.
And if we knew your names, we'd thank you personally, but we don't. So thank all of you just for listening.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about tomatoes this week.
Good topic, Christy. Good topic.
Yeah. I call it from seeds to BLTs because that's my favorite thing to eat with tomatoes.
Oh, that's great. That's really good. Okay, so before we get into talking about that, how was your week in the garden?
It was hot.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
I was out there today deadheading, and it was really hot.
Yeah.
I think I did the last round of deadheading echinacea or purple coneflowers. Because then you get that second flush of flowers, but I always kind of stop around this time because if you leave the rest up, then the birds get it for the winter.
Right, and it might be able to self-sow.
Exactly right, though. I do have a lot of self-sowed echinacea. But then I'll give them away to somebody, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I got that feeling today where it started to feel like fall.
Yes.
Have you felt that yet?
Well, I felt it. One of the things is I watch my winter squash get ginormous.
Oh, wow, that's good.
That's what they do when the fall is coming. It's almost like, I don't know, they just seem sometimes to double in size.
That's
like
amazing.
I love it.
I think that's true. I think I've noticed that in my squash, too.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it in my autumn joy sedum, which is a wonderful plant to have. And it turns starts turning a dusty pink in the beginning, and then it'll turn a darker red. Just starting to turn. And, of course, when that color comes out, the bees go crazy.
Yeah.
And I've also seen it in my mums.
Aha.
Do you have mums?
You gave me some, and they're still little, and I cannot wait for them to flower.
I will always trim mine back a couple times during the summer so they'll be bushier. When you get them at the store, the nursery, the grocery store, they're all very bushy because they keep trimming them back. And so I stopped trimming them back maybe around 4th of July, and I'm noticing now they're starting to bud out. And so it's the sign.
All right.
To buy mums, to get pansies again for your flower garden because it's getting to be fall. And remember last week, Edith, when you saw a hummingbird?
Yes.
And I bemoaned the fact that I had everything a hummingbird could want in my yard and I had not seen one.
He was scorning you. So what happened?
I saw one.
Oh, good.
I was so happy.
Oh, good.
On the trumpet vine, on the scarlet runner bean. And folks, if you want hummingbirds, I highly recommend planting scarlet runner bean. It is a bean plant. It's a vine, so it needs some place to climb. It has the most wonderful red flowers. And then afterwards, you get these bean pods that'll have black and pink beans.
It's like a multi-use plant.
And you can eat them if you want to.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. It's truly beautiful. I love red in a garden.
Yeah, it has such a great pop, doesn't it?
Big pop, yeah.
Yeah, and then they're very easy to grow. And the hummingbirds love them.
I'm really glad you got a hummingbird.
I'm so happy.
I'm so happy for you.
I was angry last week.
That was you being angry?
Oh, that's true. I was miffed.
Yes, you were miffed. Okay, you were
when
seething inside. Okay.
Yeah, when I'm angry, that's not good. I have a mystery plant solved.
Okay, what is it?
Mystery plant in my compost pile is a spaghetti squash.
A spaghetti squash?
Yes, so that I think it's because I've had spaghetti squash and you eat it, you scoop out the seeds, and it goes in the compost pile. And so now I have that spaghetti squash. I have the spaghetti squash that you gave me.
You're going to have a lot of spaghetti squash.
And I have a third spaghetti squash.
You don't. Oh, my gosh.
So there's going to be a lot of spaghetti squash.
Uh-huh.
And you have spaghetti squash, so I can't give it to
No,
you.
I'm not taking any. Oh, no.
Okay, so I have that. So then I have a brand new mystery plant.
You
that
do?
I want to show you.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So, have you ever tended a weed by accident, Edith?
Oh, yes.
So I think I tended a weed. There was something growing near my penstemon, and it looked like penstemon. So I thought, oh, my penstemon reseeded. I'm so happy because I could have more of that. And then it started to flower, and it go, oh, that's not penstemon. You know, it had tiny little white flowers on it.
Okay.
So I was out in the yard today, and I pulled it. But right when I pulled it, I went, I smelled thyme.
Oh.
So I'm going to show it to you for you to tell me what you think. Because I have a lot of thyme, but it's smaller and bushier. But this is really long. It's like 12 inches long, and it has little flowers. But can you smell it?
Oh, my gosh. It smells really good.
That's thyme, isn't it?
I think it is. Oh, that's nice. It's woody like thyme is?
Yeah, but it looks different than all the other thyme. My other thyme is very curly.
I wonder if this is, well, you know, there's different, what do you call it, species of thyme.
Yeah.
There's like, I don't know what they are, but I know there's different sweet thyme. Maybe this is sour thyme. I don't know. It's happy time. It's happy hour. I don't know what it is.
What time is it?
Do you know what you said that there was something growing next to the penstemon? That made me think, I've often thought that weeds and plants are smart enough to seed themselves next to something that looks like them. Have you noticed that?
Yes,
So
I
we
have.
don't catch them in their infancy.
Yeah. Like creeping bellflower looks a lot like echinacea, and it's always near my echinacea.
Uh-huh. And things like the morning glory that's all over the place, it loves to be in the middle of my cucumber. Anything that vines, it hides in the vine.
I'm impressed by that, actually.
I'm very impressed by that, yeah.
That's very cool. And then that's about it. Although I do have a correction to make this week.
Okay, what is it?
Well,
What-
last week I talked about iris
Oh
divination.
my gosh. Yes, you did.
And I was trying to be fancy saying I was dividing my iris because it was iris divination time. But it was brought to my attention
by
you.
By me, thank you. By me, thank you. Credit where credit is due, my friend.
That divination is actually the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by supernatural means, like divining water.
Uh-huh. So you actually put your, you brought the supreme being into your iris patch.
Yes.
Yes, you did.
And it was miraculous.
Well, it's wonderful, you know, because I don't feel like I can ever stop us while we're doing this. So, so when you said it again,
I'm okay.
I was kind of like,
you could stop me.
I wonder what.
I'll learn something new.
Okay, maybe next time I will.
All my malapropisms. That's the word, right?
That is the word, Mel. Yeah, that's the word, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what happened to my garden this week. Hopefully it'll cool down next week. How about you, Edith? How's your garden going?
You know, I don't know how, but I think I got rid of my Japanese beetles.
What?
I've seen 2 in the last 2 days. And my neighbor came over to get some of my grape leaves because she was making pickles. She didn't see any, but she told me, did you know this? She told me in her yard, a Japanese beetle bit her and her finger swelled up. And it
Get
hurt,
out.
she said, it hurt for days.
Oh.
Even a better reason to whack those things off, dump them in the bucket. So I was very happy about that, and harvested some beets, froze them.
Oh, smart. I harvested beets.
Uh-huh.
About a third of my crop. I mean, I think I might boil mine. They're good like that, too.
They are good like
I don't want
that.
to turn the oven on and roast them yet.
No, too hot.
Yeah.
Too hot. That's I lost another tomato plant.
Oh.
I did. It just wasn't looking good, so I just pulled it out, threw it in the garbage.
It can happen.
The thing is, everybody, if you have a diseased-looking plant and you pull it out, don't put it in your compost.
Nope.
Make sure you put it in the garbage.
In the garbage, so
Yeah.
it won't infect your whole compost.
Right.
Because, and we'll get into this a bit more, but it could be a fungus or disease that you don't want to get.
Mm-hmm.
Just perpetrate the problem.
I mean, if these seeds can stay in a compost and then plant themselves, anything can kind of live in a compost, it seems.
Like spaghetti squash.
Like spaghetti squash. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, my Japanese beetles, I saw about 5 or 6 of them inside my roses, like inside my peace rose that was blooming.
Oh no,
it's creepy.
Yeah, that is creepy.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
But maybe they also might be done for the year. They might be laying their eggs and dying. So I should probably, if you're seeing less, I should probably be getting that milky spore out on my lawn this weekend.
Yes. You know what? Yes.
Because that's what the grubs will feed on.
Uh-huh.
This is the grand milky spore experiment. If anybody else is doing that out there, will you write in and let us know how it works for you? Because I'm real curious. I'm going to try it this weekend.
Yeah, I've never done it either. So let's find out from
We're going to get those Japanese beetles.
Yeah.
And if you folks are interested in seeing pictures of our garden, don't forget to check out our Facebook page. Go to Pinterest or Instagram, and you could see some fun pictures of what we're growing. Successes and failures.
Yeah, yeah. I should have taken a picture of my sick plant, my sick tomato. No, he would have been embarrassed. No, I'm not going to do that.
Like a mugshot. All right, Edith, let's
Yes.
talk tomatoes.
My favorite thing about the summer. Tomatoes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I love this phrase. It says, gardening is cheaper than therapy, and you get tomatoes.
Oh, that's perfect. That is perfect.
Yeah, I think that it is truly the reward of summer is tomatoes.
If there's only one thing you can plant a tomato in a container, in a garden, in somebody else's garden when they're not looking. Plant a tomato.
There is not a fruit or a vegetable that tastes better than when you grow it yourself.
Christy, that is so true. You know, I have to admit this. I've been buying tomatoes at the grocery store because mine have not ripened and I simply cannot wait. And they're practically tasteless. Like you gave me some last week. Mm-hmm. That put me straight to Nirvana. Then I go to the grocery.
That's so great.
Oh my gosh. So I'm not going to buy anymore. I'm going to grit my teeth and wait.
Well, I have some I can give you.
That was a huge beg, an unspoken beg. Thank you.
And you know, it really does mean, though, that I care a lot about you because I will give away a lot of vegetables, but I rarely give away tomatoes.
Oh, my God. Wow. I'll just take 2 if that's all right.
You betcha.
Thank you.
Did you know that tomatoes are thought to originate in Peru?
Aha.
And the name comes from the Aztec Zotomali, which means plump thing with a navel.
All kinds of pictures just went up in my head.
Yeah.
That I'm
Sometimes
not gonna...
people call me that.
Oh, my God. Who knew the Aztecs had such a sense of humor? Yeah. Did you know that, it finally moved over to England with, the conquerors and whatnot, bringing stuff back to their queen? Did you know that people used to think it was poison? They called it a poison apple.
Oh.
And do you know why?
Why?
Because the rich people who ate it, they had pewter. They ate off of pewter. And the tomato is so acidic. They were giving themselves lead poisoning.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what you get for being rich in the Middle Ages.
That's right. That's right. Serves them right. Let them eat cake.
Yep.
Let them eat tomatoes.
There you go.
On pewter.
Yes. So that made me think, my gosh, did the queen actually give Snow White a tomato?
Oh my gosh.
Poison apple? I thought about that.
Yes, did you know the French thought that they were aphrodisiacs?
Oh.
And they called them pommes d'amour or love apples.
Do you know that the French think everything is an aphrodisiac? They don't even need an aphrodisiac, do they really?
That's true.
The French,
that everything
baguettes are aphrodisiacs, slugs, snails.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
What a lusty people.
The heaviest tomato on record is 7 pounds, 12 ounces.
Wow.
Grown by Gordon Graham. I want to give this guy a shout out, of Edmond, Oklahoma in 1986.
Wow.
He sliced the tomato to make sandwiches for 21 family members.
Oh, that's so nice. Look at that.
Yeah.
I kind of pity the tomato plant, though. It's like being pregnant with 8 kids.
That's right. It's like,
oh my gosh, I can't move. I wonder if there were any more tomatoes on the plant, or if the plant just put
that
everything in that one massive tomato.
Yeah, that could be.
You know?
93% of American gardening households grow tomatoes.
Oh, that's good.
So if you're listening to us and you have a garden, 93% of you have a tomato plant.
And I have to wonder about the other 7%.
If you're one of those 7%, can you please write to us and explain to us in great detail why you are not growing
Christy,
tomatoes?
I know people that don't like tomatoes. I can tell you why. It's because of the texture.
Oh.
Yeah,
Some people are allergic also.
Oh, right.
Do you know that you're supposed to leave a tomato at room temperature and never put in the refrigerator?
I do know that.
Yeah.
Never put it in the refrigerator. Don't put it in the windowsill either. I just
The squirrels will get it.
And once you pick them, they don't need light. The light has absolutely no effect on them ripening.
It's the heat that ripens them, right? That's why you can wrap them in newspaper.
It's what's already inside them.
Yeah.
They have collected the energy to ripen already. Yeah.
Now, you planted your tomatoes. Let's talk about how we grow them. So you grew yours from seed this year, right?
I did. Yeah.
That's impressive.
For the first time. Yeah. I made a little bit of a mistake, which is my favorite variety is black crim, and that's pretty much all that I planted. So they're kind of late ripeners.
See, that's why you don't have tomatoes
And that's
right
why
now.
I don't have tomatoes. And the other reason, Christy, I read this today and I never knew this. It's too hot for certain varieties to go red. It's too hot. Did you know that?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Temperature makes such a big deal in the whole scheme of tomatoes.
They always say tomatoes love the heat, but apparently not to ripen.
Yeah, not over 85 degrees.
And it has been 94. I don't know. Has it ever in the world been under 90 ever here ever?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while.
I do a combination. I will get seedlings from a reputable nursery, Actors, in Arvada. I will always get I love a cherry tomato. I will always get a Roma. I will get an early girl. And then my friend Melanie, I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Melanie. She grows dozens of tomatoes from seed every year. She so kindly gives me some, which is why I have 9 tomato plants.
Nice. I actually do have, I always do Romas as well because I freeze them and make my own spaghetti sauce all winter long.
And Romas are great because they are a determinate tomato.
Yes, that means they all get ripe at the same time. And the reason for that is the big agriculture, people like Campbell's, they just have to send the machine through once to collect the tomatoes. So,
which is different than an indeterminate tomato.
Yes, which is what we like because it has a growing season. Like they will keep growing and getting red until the frost.
Yeah.
So,
And they're more spontaneous too. An indeterminate tomatoes also gets bigger.
It does. Yes. You have to stake them. That's really important.
Larger.
You have to stake them or they will just fall over.
Yeah. How big is it going to get? I don't know. It's indeterminate. When are the tomatoes going to happen? I don't know. It's indeterminate.
Who knows? It's unpredictable. Is it ever going to get below 90 again? I don't know.
It's indeterminate.
It's indeterminate. We'll see.
But a determinate tomato is smaller and it's bushier, and you'll get all the tomatoes at once. So they're great for canning and for freezing.
Not so good. There's certain varieties that are not so good for eating just raw like we like.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
They're just not. And
they're-
that is because they are actually bred for processing.
There's a weird mouthfeel. They get, I don't know, sort of mushy or grainy.
Very mushy, very pasty and mushy.
Yeah.
In fact, my Romas this year are Amish paste. That's the variety, Amish paste. It was hard this year with the supply chain. It was hard to get everything that you wanted.
Because so many people are gardening right now.
Yeah. So by the time I got there to get my Romas, I didn't grow my Romas from seed. They were all they had left was Amish paste.
Now, are the ones that you grew, are these heirloom? Are they hybrid?
Yes, they're heirlooms.
So that you could get an heirloom tomato or a hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
An heirloom tomato is going to be a seed that has developed over generations. In
Yep.
fact, in some parts of the world, you give tomato seeds as a wedding gift.
Wow, nice. Wow. That have been in the family for generations, probably. Wow.
I think there's actually a brand called like Kansas Wedding Tomato.
That is so cool. I didn't know that.
And then a hybrid is forced pollination.
Yes.
The good thing about that, though, is that it'll be more disease resistant, more tolerant to cold, but you might be missing out on some of the great flavor that an heirloom will have.
And if you collect the seeds, there's no guarantee you're going to get the parent plant.
That's true,
because
too.
it's a hybrid from 2 different strains. Yeah.
Let's talk about planting the tomato, because you can get a lot of great success in the unique ways of planting. When you have it and it's ready to go into the ground, well, first of all, you should harden it off.
Always harden everything off, yeah. Which is, you just cannot bring it home from the nursery and stick it in the ground.
I've done it before. It will work, but your tomato will be crabby.
Or it won't work because you'll get a frost, an unexpected frost, and you're killing the little tiny thing.
Yeah, hardening off is just about bringing the tomato out into, for a couple hours a day, just increasing the time every single day so it gets used to it, because it's been so happy in the greenhouse or underneath your lights.
Yeah. So it's either shocked by the cold at night or it's shocked by the direct sun, neither of which it's used to.
When I first started planting tomatoes, I never knew how deep you were supposed to plant them.
Now, see, there's some controversy about that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Can I tell you how I plant them now? So I dig like a little tiny trench. First of all, I rip off all the lower leaves. And then I plant it horizontally. Every as close to the surface as not deep at all. And everywhere that there was a leaf forms a new root.
Right.
And then you tip up the top. So, of course, it's looking up, right? And
I've done that.
Do you do that too?
Yeah, or depending on the plant, I'll just plant it deeper too.
Yeah.
Depending on how bendable.
How bendable it is. Tomatoes are pretty darn bendable when they're little.
What's cool about it, though, is that you don't need a lot of space to plant a tomato. You don't need acreage. You don't need a yard. You could plant a tomato in a container, in a sunny spot, on your porch, on your deck. Any place where you get a good 8 hours of sun will be just fine.
You have to get that 8 hours of sun. So, and also, if you plant it next to a wall or a fence, the heat's reflected back on it.
That's smart.
So that's also helpful, in case you live in a colder zone.
And if you want to plant a container, just look in your nursery for something that says dwarf, or even they'll even say container plant. I think cherry tomatoes make a great container.
Oh my God, they are, and they're wonderful. They're like candy with no calories. They're so great.
I have to have a cherry tomato every year.
Yeah, me too.
And you should also make sure when you plant that you give them room. They don't want to. It's amazing how big they get.
They get huge. You can never believe it. And not only that, if the 2 tomato plants grow together and one gets sick, it'll pass it. We don't put masks on them.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah.
Or it sort of like reminds me of like growing up with my siblings. Like, stop touching me. I'm not touching you.
Yes.
Quit touching me. Mom, she's touching me.
They're looking at me. Make them stop looking at me.
They shouldn't touch. They need space in between it. And then you have to stake them.
Yes.
Support them somehow. They need support, Edith. Support your tomatoes.
Yeah,
they need emotional and physical support.
Yes, they do. They're counting on you,
And you can buy those cone ones, those 3-pronged cages. I like the square ones.
They are good. I don't have any of those, but I've seen them and they look really good.
I get mine at Gardener Supply catalog, and I just love them because they fold up so they store away real easy.
I also, before I put the dirt back on them, I'll put a little bit of old compost. I mean, not like fresh stuff.
Yes, a couple inches.
Epsom salts as well. I dig that into the earth around them.
Yeah. I've heard also people do eggshells.
Or eggshells. Yeah. And do you know what some people do to keep, cutworms? They can come and they can eat the little tiny plant.
Under the ground.
Under the ground, yeah. I saw a bunch of them when I was digging around in my garden. But I read this one thing where if you put a little stick next to the tomato plant, the worm comes along underground. Here he comes. And he thinks it's a tomato stalk, so he starts chewing on it.
Oh, psych.
And he goes like, this is too hard. And then he leaves. So that's the theory. I don't know if that works. Other people put, a toilet roll, the cardboard.
I've heard that.
Like a collar.
Yeah.
And then, after a few rains, that will go away. But what you want to do is protect a little tiny seedling.
Yeah, they don't care about the older plants. They just love those little baby tomatoes.
They do.
And it's important to say, though, that tomatoes are hungry. They like to be fed a lot.
Yeah.
So make sure you put some fertilizer in. What kind of fertilizer do you use?
I was nodding my head, but I was kind of lying because other than Epsom salts, I don't.
Really?
Yeah. I trust my soil. Remember, I've been amending that soil for 22
been.
years.
Yeah.
So I really trust the soil. And before, I make those trenches and put compost in the fall and in the spring to let the soil relax and get nourished.
Well, I do feed. I feed in the spring, and then I do another feeding. I just did a feeding a couple weeks ago of Dr. Earth.
Okay, that sounds
It's an organic.
professional.
Yeah. Organic. But they also have those slow release, sticks you can put on, like a Job stick. You should. And then as we have talked before, you have to mulch it.
You have to mulch it. And also, I just remember what else I do. Sometimes I make compost tea or horse manure tea.
Yeah.
I'm making that right now.
I've seen people do that.
And then so what you do is you just put some horse manure or compost in a bucket, put some water, let it sit for a while. What a smell. Really not that bad. And then
I don't mind it.
I don't mind it either.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of weeks, then you can pour it around your tomatoes or around whatever you
Get
want.
hungry.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. Be right back. Upside Down Tulips is brought to you by the Society for Humming Hums and Hummers. COVID-19 has changed how we gather for special occasions. We need to wear masks and socially distance in very small groups. And sadly, no singing, as singing generates too many droplets into the air. That is why the Society for Humming Hums and Hummers asks you to consider humming. Humming behind a mask is safe, easy, and fun. You can hum at birthday parties. At weddings. At bar mitzvahs. And you can also hire a professional humming soloist at baseball games until they cancel the season. Or for your very own private Broadway cabaret. And if this thing goes on for much longer, for Christmas caroling. Humming. It's nothing to sing about.
Hello, we're back.
We were talking about things like worms. There are some pests also that can get in the way that love tomatoes.
Yeah. That awful green hornworm thing.
Yeah, they are huge.
They're huge. And
They're about maybe 4 inches. They're a lime green with it looks like it has a bunch of eyeballs on it.
yes, and it has a horn on it. It actually has a horn sticking up.
They're so scary.
They are kind of scary.
You have to
Luckily,
squish
they're
them.
small.
Yeah.
Ew, don't say squish. Oh, no.
And then stink bugs. Love
Stink
tomatoes.
bugs, stink bugs, yeah.
And the Colorado potato bug.
All of which, I don't use pesticides. Christy
I don't
doesn't either.
Yeah.
Or insecticides. So just
Squish them.
squish them. There you go. I'll squish them too.
Or you can put some insecticidal soap or some neem oil, which is from a natural tree in India.
So there's other things that will freak you out, but they're not that bad, like blossom end rot.
Yeah. No tomato crop is perfect.
And that's the good part about being an organic gardener. You realize that perfection is not really what you're going for.
It's a tropical plant.
Not only, yeah, exactly. You if you're at the store, everything looks exactly uniform, right?
Yeah.
And that's not the way nature intended it.
And there's a certain amount of imperfection and loss that is built in.
Yeah.
It's normal.
Yeah.
I think the plant expects it, and has extras just in case.
Yeah.
And some years can be tougher on tomatoes than other years that you have no control over.
This is a tough year on tomatoes, I think.
The
This
weather,
is tough.
the weather can
Yeah.
do. We had that huge, heavy rain, and it didn't matter what we did to protect it. What it did is it splashed up the fungus that was in the ground.
Yep, and the heat is not helping.
Yeah.
In fact, Christy, I had a message from a friend of mine, Carol in Pennsylvania, and she said to me, my tomatoes are blotchy. Could they be shy? Isn't that great?
You're right. That is adorable.
It's adorable. So,
Yeah.
And my tomatoes, here's what I noticed. They have that big white sections on them. It just turns white, but that's okay. That doesn't hurt anything. It's like white pithy tissue.
Oh, and it's not powdery mildew.
It's one of two things. It could be caused by stink bug feeding,
Oh,
which you
stink
just
bugs,
mentioned,
yeah.
or it could be caused by the heat.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried shading?
Not often, but it's
I
a
know
good
people
idea.
and if folks who do this in other places, let us know how you shade. Because I know people like in Oklahoma and Texas, they will put shade over their plants. And I did it once this summer already when it was in the upper 90s.
Well, you did it with your chair, with your lawn chair.
With my lawn chair, but then I did it with just row covers to cover it over. So, but so things don't chase perfection with
No,
chemicals.
No.
A lot of problems can be corrected if you catch them early.
Yep.
And if the tomatoes are imperfect, doesn't mean they still don't taste delicious.
Cut away either the blossom and cut
Okay.
away the white part. The tomato is going to be delicious.
Let's talk about some of the things that could happen. So you talked about blossom and rot, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, cut away the end. But if you do get it, it's fixable. Which is that brown mushy part at the bottom of your tomato is fixable. Add calcium, water consistently.
Yeah.
Done. Huh?
Yeah. You're right. Done. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about all the things that can happen from a fungus?
Oh.
So you could get a early blight, which is little brown spots.
Mm-hmm.
You can get leaf spot, which will break out in yellow spots. You can get wilt. There's a couple different kinds of wilt. They all come from a fungus.
You're making me sad now.
I know, but
Now I'm sad.
tomatoes are so strong. They get through all this stuff. Huh?
Yeah, they do get through it. Yeah.
It comes from the soil. So if you mulch, so these are about preventative measures. If you mulch, you'll prevent splash up. You can trim the bottom lower leaves.
Yeah. What about pruning?
Yes. Yeah. Careful of pruning too much because you need shade.
Last year is the first time I've ever pruned, and it really helped.
Nice.
I had no idea you were supposed to prune a tomato plant, but when they get gigantic and crowded,
Yeah, that's a good point.
it was grateful. I mean, the air could
Yeah.
go in and out.
Such a good point. And you taught me how to pinch out the little
Pinch off the suckers.
the suckers.
Not
Those
everybody.
suckers.
I tell you, not
They
everybody.
suck.
Not everybody thinks that's a good idea. Who knew?
They're draining energy from the rest of the plant.
That's
They
exactly what I
weaken it.
think. That's what I think. Yeah.
And of course, you have to rotate.
Yeah. That in fact, a lot of the problems that you have can be stopped before they begin by rotating.
Which means every year plant your tomatoes in a different spot.
Right. Rotate your whole garden, the whole entire garden.
Yeah.
Fool the bugs. Bugs are not all that smart. Right?
Hey, I ate a tomato here last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did it go?
I mean, come on. If we're not smarter than a stink bug, I don't know anymore.
I'm 1 point smarter than a stink bug. That's all you need to be.
You just need to be 1 point. Yeah.
Right. Do you know also that if you smoke or you're around tobacco products, that's also bad for your tomatoes.
You know what? I've heard that, and I don't know why.
Just
but
wash
I've
your
heard
hands
that.
a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause there's something about the nicotine that's very bad for tomatoes. What about harvesting?
You know, you can harvest them when they're green and put them in the house. Actually, not green. I wouldn't harvest when they're green. But when it's this hot, sometimes it's a good idea when they first start turning, you don't have to wait
Yeah.
until they're red.
I'm pulling them at 75% because, as you know, my tomatoes are being assaulted
Yes.
by a squirrel or squirrels. Or, I hate to tell you this, Edith, but somebody also told me it may not necessarily be a squirrel. It could also be a rat.
Ooh, ooh,
I know.
ooh,
I hope
gosh.
not.
Oh, I hope not.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll say this is that raccoons have come in and taken them too, but I gotta respect the raccoon. The raccoon, well, you know that you've seen a raccoon has come through because all you see are just little pieces of the skin. They'll eat the whole thing.
Oh, much better.
But the squirrel,
Yeah, the
who comes in and
squirrels.
takes one bite and walks away, that's terrible. And I have a present to show you, Edith, by the way, as we talk about tomato harvesting.
Uh-oh.
Well, last week I shared that I brought in all these green tomatoes at the frost and I put them up in my attic. And then I got busy and I kind of forgot about them. And then by then it was too late. And so I still had 4 boxes of about 50 tomatoes up in my attic from last year.
Did you bring them down?
I brought one to open up.
You haven't opened it yet?
No.
Okay, this is
Should I
exciting.
bring the box
yeah,
out?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Let's do it.
Okay.
Is it heavy or does it feel lighter?
I'm going to give it to you here, and you could see that probably had about 20 tomatoes in it.
Well, it doesn't weigh anything at all. It weighs almost nothing. Christy, should I open it?
You
Should I
open it,
open
Edith.
it?
Yeah, you
okay,
open it.
okay. All right, I'm opening it.
This is my shame.
There's newspaper on top. Oh my God.
I'm going to open another box.
It's a huge tomato blotch. It's just exactly like tomato paint gone bad.
Oh, okay. Mine looks like some fuzzy. These. Oh, I remember these. These were big ones. These were like big beefsteaks in this box, and they're little blacky.
They look like mushrooms almost. Little flat mushrooms.
These tomatoes must have been as big as my hand,
My gosh.
and they're fuzzy and they're white, and there's not much left to them.
I've stopped breathing now, so
Are we? Are we getting like some tomato spores?
yeah, really. We'll close them, but let's close it
Close
up.
the box. Okay. Well, that's my shame. So harvest your tomatoes, and if you're gonna put them in your attic,
Make a note to yourself on the
Yes.
refrigerator. Yeah, there are tomatoes in my attic.
Oh, okay. So what's your favorite thing to do with tomatoes when you have a lot?
Well, I do give them away. I freeze them, I give them away, and I eat tomatoes every single day.
Yeah, I could eat them every day
I
when
do
they're in
eat them
season.
every single day. Yeah.
And it's like summer in a bowl, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to can. I've been canning lately. I think that's maybe why I don't give them away so much, is because I just
Oh, I freeze. I don't want to. I don't can because I'm afraid of the pressure cooker sound. When I was growing up, my mom had one of those old pressure cookers for canning,
Oh.
and it made that horrible sound, and it jiggled really, really hard, and I always thought it was going to explode and take the house with it. So I've been unable to can my whole life.
So another reason why we need psychotherapy
Yes,
in the
yeah,
garden,
yeah,
huh?
Exactly.
I have one of those canning tubs,
Yeah, no, I don't know, but yeah, I should have probably gotten one of them a long time ago. Yeah,
It's a
I'm
big
little out
pot.
of the
It's a big
loop.
pot.
Yeah, that sounds great.
You can borrow it if you want to can.
No thanks. I'll just keep freezing.
Okay.
I'll just freeze them.
You can if you want to.
You can freeze too. Just freeze. Okay.
And next week, we're going to talk about fall planting.
Yes.
So this is for all those people who say, oh, it's too late for me to plant. I have nothing to plant. Now is your time, folks, who've been saying it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
Because next week, we'll talk about all the things you can plant. It's not too late.
Hey, I'm the old woman who lived in a shoe. That's right. I got no name and I live in a shoe. You think that would be bad enough, right? But on top of that, I got so many children, I don't know what to do. So I gave them some broth and put them to bed. And Child Protective Services comes around and says, hey, what's with the shoe? And you're just feeding them broth? Where are the vegetables? And I'm like, I live in a shoe. What do you want from me? Kids, go to sleep. It's 7 o'clock at night. So anyway, old Mother Hubbard, she lives over the hill in a house a real house, not a shoe. Says to me, you know, when my cupboard was bare, I grew a garden full of vegetables. I says, what? How do you know how to grow stuff? She says, I listen to this podcast called Upside Down Tulips. They help you. And they have a website and a Facebook page, whatever those are. Kids, shut up! I'm on my last nerve. So, anyway, I'm gonna try growing a garden. What do I got to lose? Actually, I could lose the kids. They're looking peaked. So, I'll grow a garden. You could too. Upside Down Tulips. Subscribe today. If you're already subscribed, tell a friend. Especially if you have one that looks peaked.
Mailbag will return next week because we talked too much about tomatoes, Edith.
Oh, Christy, can I still do my ring though? Can you say no mailbag?
No mailbag.
Ring. Okay, thank you. Our inspiration for today comes from Robert Louis Stevenson. Don't judge each other by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you sow. That's beautiful.
It's a good message for life, too.
That is really a good message for life, yeah.
Hey, thanks, everybody. We're going to call it a night. We thank everybody for listening to us.
We're going to miss you terribly till next week, so we'll just wait here, right here. I'm not leaving, by the way. I'm going to wait right here by the microphone till next week.
You're so loyal, Edith.
I'm loyal.
Well, folks, you know, you can subscribe and follow us where you like to listen to podcasts. When you subscribe, you no longer have to keep track of your favorite shows, remember what you've listened to or where you've left off.
No, you don't have to do that. Our new episodes will come directly to your phone automatically, just like that. Bing, bing. Every time you open the app, we will be there waiting. I'm still waiting right now.
So you're all set to listen entirely offline, and it's free.
Totally free. Tell your friends.
Special thanks to Denise Gentilini for composing and performing the Upside Down Tulips theme song. And a special thanks to our friend and actor, Billy McBride.
Thanks, Billy.
And don't forget, if you make a mistake,
your garden will forgive you.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
That's good, Edith.
It's good. Christy Montreux Larson, it's been a pleasure.
Edith Weiss, always lovely.
Upside down tulips.
I really am glad you're going to give me a couple of tomatoes.
Of course I will.
Oh, thanks, because I was hinting like crazy.